Good evening, everybody. That's right, I'm in my car, driving home. It's Kent Bierly, live from his mobile studios. It's a long day. It's 10 o'clock. I've been at the gym since, working, training people since 6 o'clock this morning. So really the exercise of the day, it's not an exercise, it's more of an attitude. What do you do days that are long, days that are tired? I could have gone home at 9:30, but I still had 20 minutes of cardio to do. It would have been easy just to go home and say, I got 4 weeks to go. But that's the difference. That's what makes the difference. That's what makes this sport such a challenge. That's what makes one person the champion and the other person, a lineup filler. You got to be dedicated. You have to follow your plan. If you have to do, like I do, an hour and 20 minutes of cardio today, then you got to do your hour and 20 minutes of cardio. If you're supposed to eat 120 carbs today, then you need to eat 120 carbs today. Now, the margin for error as you get closer and closer to a show, your margin of error gets smaller and smaller and smaller. There is no margin of error. 4 weeks to go, there is no margin of error. Especially when when I step on stage on June 22nd up at, wow, it's pretty dark in here. When I step on stage March, I don't even know what month it is. June 22nd up at Amherst, Massachusetts, at UMass, at the World Masters Challenge. You know who's going to be waiting for me is none other than Marshall, my buddy Marshall Johnson. Now, I don't know if anybody's seen him lately, but he looks unbelievable. Well, you really can't see me, but that's okay. Marshall looks better than I've seen anybody look in a long time. He is conditioned. He is so conditioned that he looks like somebody's science project from high school. He has no skin. And because he's so lean, he looks huge. Not 168 pounds. He looks awesome. I mean, and so that's who I have to go up against. I'll turn the light back on. So there is no margin of error. I am working on borrowed time because I know when I step on stage that I'm going to be in his class. Because I'll probably end up weighing about the same amount as him, 168, 166, something like that. So we'll be in the same class. Now, let alone everybody else that'll be there. I mean, there's no slouches. Neil Rodriguez will be there. He won the whole thing last year. I mean, there's just no slouches. So what do? Do you want to be a lineup filler? Or do you want to be battling it out for first place? That's the difference. That's what makes a champion. That's what makes this sport the hardest thing you'll ever do. That is what drives people to succeed. And that also is what drives people to quit and to not do it. And then bitch and moan about the trainer made him do this, the trainer made him do that. So you really need to figure out what you want out of it. Do you want to just get up on stage because it's something on your bucket list? I've heard that a million times, which, it's a valid argument. But yet, do you want to get on stage and just be a lineup filler? Or do you want to be competitive? Do you want to win? Do you want to be top 3? Know what you want to be. Know what your goals are. And if you do have a trainer, you need to tell your trainer what your expectations are. I'm training a woman. She told me she wants to win. That is her goal. She wants to win. Now, I love nothing more than that because I could tell that girl to climb up a building like Batman on the outside and she'll do it. So I love that. But if I have a person I'm training for a show and they tell me, well, I've always wanted to do this, I just want to get on stage. When you ask them to do you know, they're 25 minutes of high intensity cardio, and then you want them to work out 6 days a week, then you want to have them cut their carbs and then increase their carbs, they're going to be like, well, that's a lot to do for just a little bucket list, so I don't know if I'm going to do that. And then when they get on stage and then they don't do well, they turn around and blame you. So I don't, you know, really the moral of the story, I don't really have one. I'm just driving home, and I'm just, it made me think that, yeah, this was one of those days that I could have just gone home, because I'm exhausted. Thursdays kill me. For some reason, it's the longest day. I've been working, you know, you're working all week. Thursday's my hump day, because Friday is generally, it's a half day for me. I'm done at 7 o'clock at night, not 10 o'clock. That's like a half day. And I have my diner date night with my wife. Get my steak and eggs, and I'm in heaven. But you need to be honest with yourself. You need to be honest with your trainer. And as a trainer, you need to be honest to your client. It's not a money grab. Okay, pay me this and I'll do, you know, I'll get you just enough to get by. I don't do it that way. People that I've trained know I don't do it that way. So, again, I talked about a game plan once before driving home, but you want to have your goals. What is your expectations for the show? What do you want to do? How do you want to finish? How do you want to look? What do you want to get out of it? Is it your only show, or do you plan on, you know, doing a few other ones as, you know, as you progress? Do you want to get on stage and get the jitters out? Now, I can tell you, when I get on stage, I'm still anxious. It's still like sitting in the locker room waiting to play a football game. That's the way I feel. And people may say, well, geez, Bierly doesn't talk to anybody. No, you know, you're right. Before I go out, you know, it's like, hello, what's up, how you doing? I'm not the nicest guy in the world, but as soon as prejudging's over, I'll talk your ear off. That's just, you know, figure out what you want to do. It's a tough thing. The hardest thing you'll ever do. I tell everybody that. They look at me like, yo, how hard could it be? Well, let me tell you, it is the hardest thing you'll ever do. Now, I've never had given birth, so I would imagine that popping an 8-pound baby out of your privates, that's got to be pretty tough too. But I don't have to deal with that. So it will never be the hardest thing I have to do, because I don't do it. So I will still rank competing in a show as the hardest thing, mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically. There's a lot of Lees in there. So all those Lees, they're all together. So that's my ramblings of a tired man. It wasn't bad, 7 minutes to get home. So it really is just with the days that you run out of time. You're supposed to do something, and it's too easy to say, forget it, I'm going home. It's too easy to say, you know, I'll do it tomorrow. But when you got 5 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, there is no margin of error. Oh, let me move that steering wheel so you can see me. There is no margin of error. That hourglass is turned upside down, and that sand is coming out. And I know I got some boys waiting for me on stage, and they all want to take down the king. They all smile to your face. They all say, what an honor. What of this, what of that. But you know what? When they beat me, they like to say, like that little bastard Greg Trumley, that when he beat me up in Albany because I was out of shape. I tried, experimented, you know, he knew, he beat me, and he's pumped up. He's probably still smiling. But, you know, good for him. And I told him, don't ever expect it to happen again. Although he was pretty ripped and shredded. I could see him maybe sneaking another one in on me. But I'm, you know, that's just the emotional game that bodybuilding plays. Figure, bikini, whatever. That's the game it plays. You can't have a bad day. You can't have an off day, because there's always somebody there waiting to bump you off. So that's my exercise of the day. What are we going to call it? How about expectations? Margin of error and expectations. So it's an ANBF exercise of the day. Margin of error and expectations. Margin of error is 0 from this point on. 4 weeks out. I got my buddies waiting for me on stage, and I know they're not going to cut me any slack. The old man gets no slack, although Marshall's older than me. Maybe I could play some tricks on him, because he is old. Maybe he's going to forget something. I got to call him and play a trick on him. Play some Jedi mind games. So that's it. I'll be back at the gym tomorrow, Friday. The pollen around here is crazy. I don't have allergies, but my eyes feel like I have sand in them, like I've been stuck my head in the sand at the beach. We got all the people coming down, Memorial Day at the beach, so it'll be a crazy weekend here. Everybody drive safe, wherever you're going. Have a good time with your families and friends. And make sure you're working out. Don't spend too much time at the barbecues with a solo cup in your hand full of beer. If you got a show coming up, if it's your cheap meal, then eat your food, but be careful. Everybody be careful, drive safe, travel safe. And don't forget, July 20th, Roanoke, Virginia. My buddy Anthony Ferguson going to have an awesome show down there, the Virginia Pro-Am. July 27th, the Natural Crystal Coast in Morehead City, North Carolina. That is going to be, people are so excited that we're having a natural show out there. And they can't even remember if they've ever had one before. In the land of the NPC, the land of the domain, the dominant NPC. I think there's only 2 natural shows in the whole state. But now actually there's 4. Because Mark Lobliners is in November and mine is going to be in July. So they had 2. Will Powell's show, the No Gear Classic. He's an awesome guy. And then Damian Fisher, he has his show. So those are the only 2 shows. Well, there might be an NPA show. Harry Silas has got his. I think there's a show. Actually, I think it might be in Burlington too, in the land of Opie Mayberry. So there's 4 shows this year, not including the NPA. I don't have their schedule, so I might be corrected. So 2 of the 4 are the ANBF. Then September 7th, Terrytown, New York. We are bringing the classic back to Westchester. But I kind of laughed when I said this the other day. We're cleaning it up a bit because we made it natural. It's the natural Westchester Classic. And that's right, for those of you that have not heard, the first show I ever won was the Westchester Classic back when I was 19 years old. At the where was that? Westchester Civic Center or something like that. It was 20 people in my class. 20. Well, it was actually the teenage Westchester Classic. It was 20 people in my class. You got some shows that don't even have 20 people. There's 20 people in a teenage class. That was fun. Winning my first show was fun. So we're bringing the classic back to Westchester, and we're going to clean it up by making it natural. Terrytown, New York. It's a beautiful city. It's right on the river, Hudson River, with the Tappan Zee Bridge in the background. There's an awesome Mexican restaurant right next door. Then the week later, well, in Terrytown, we're going to have the Pro Masters and the Pro Masters figure. Then, and actually down in Virginia, we're going to have the Pro Figure, Pro Men, and then Pro Bikini. That's in Roanoke. And then September 14th, back in Brick, ANBF headquarters. The Jersey Shore Natural Pro-Am. We're going to have every pro class imaginable. Pro Figure, Pro Masters Figure. We have men. We have Pro Masters Men. We have Pro Physique, men and women. And then Pro Bikini. And we don't forget, straight through shows. We don't finish until it's over. Start to finish. Can't wait. Very exciting. So that's it. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Thanks for listening to my rambling. It's a rambling of a tired man. So I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Again, please drive safe this weekend. Have a good time. That's Kent Bierly from his mobile studios for ANBF Exercise of the Day. Good night.